we'll figure out what to do beyond this point. But I think we have the voices on this call to make this happen and also explain where we are and why we are here. Let's go. Good evening, y'all. This is Mondale Robinson with the Black Male Voter Project. I'm super excited to be here with these brothers who care and love Black communities, Black men especially. And also, we are luckily to be joined by Michael Blake, who is the vice chair of the DNC and also a lover of Black people, people in general, but Black people more specifically. And we are super excited to have some great voices, influential voices, folk that you know and folk that you might know or might not know, but they're responsible for the things that are important to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to the good brother, Jonathan Nyblack, to open us up and start us off and also ground set and level set. Nyblack, what's good, brother?
Hey, man, everything is wonderful. So first of all, I want to thank everybody that's on here. London Arrington, Slater Thorpe, Jonte Austin, B. Michael Cox, Jermaine Dupree. Want to make sure that I give you, Mondale, great props for just doing what you do. And of course, Michael Blake for joining us. Michael is in the streets right now doing his job, making sure that the voters are out there doing what they need to do. So we are very appreciative and respectful of his time. So Michael, last night you had a call with us that was extremely, for lack of a better word, moving. It was something that I think that we as Black males needed to hear. And I definitely believe it's something that the world needs to hear because it was so impactful and heartfelt that it's nothing that we need to keep to ourselves. So I'm going to pose this question to you, Michael. With the influencers, the Black male influencers that you have on this Zoom call, I would just like to ask you this question as to why do you feel that these men should utilize their influence to have other Black men go vote for Joe Biden, to go vote Democratic? And I would open that floor for you to go ahead.
Nyblack, I appreciate you, King. To you, to Mondale, and everybody who have created spaces. Mondale, I'm grateful for you and the immediate conversations you can already tell when someone's willing to rock with you without any hesitation for the culture. Look, everybody, first, before answering the question, I'm still a kid from the Bronx, New York. That's always going to be home for me, Creston and Burnside, right? And me and my bald head are standing in Philly right now, right? So that's the reason I keep throwing on my hoodie because we doing what we can for the next, 48 hours here. Real talk. I've been around the work of Joe Biden for the last 12 years. And you find out who someone is when the cameras are off. And when someone's willing to say, nah, we got to push further so these Black and brown businesses get more contracts they weren't getting before. Do you need to do more? Yes. But for someone to be saying that, when someone says, what are we doing around crack versus powder cocaine disparity because what's been going on doesn't make any damn sense. When someone's willing to say to attorneys general in these quiet meetings, what are we doing right now? Because every time it comes to housing discrimination, you're going after these brothers, Black men and Black folk. I could talk about all the things that people see on the outside, but everybody knows when you know someone and you see what they do behind the scenes, that's the core of the person. This is the man who in 2008, when we didn't have a primary in Michigan and Florida, when he went on stage after rewriting a new introduction, after people were like, yo, they don't know if they're going to vote for Barack Obama, he said, I understand some of y'all don't want to vote for my friend. He is a good man who sat with my granddaughters and me with his daughters. He's a good man. He's a good friend, and you're going to vote for him. So, like, real talk, Biden versus Trump is what we're assessing. And Trump asked 4 years ago to Black folk, what do you have to lose? And the real talk is, the answer is our lives. Brothers, we dying. We dying because of an administration. Let's stop fucking around and having some broad conversation. An administration that does not give a damn about us. an administration that is fine with us dying, an administration that had a chance to help Black businesses get access to money through payroll protection. They didn't do it. An administration that did everything humanly possible to make it harder for us to get access to affordable housing. They don't care. So who would I rather rock with? I want to rock with the person that I've seen been doing the work behind the scenes. And I hear people talk about, let's talk about the crime bill. Let's talk about the crime bill. Let's talk about how it passed 100 to 0. Let's talk about how Black support for the crime bill was at 59% when that happened. Let's talk about that Donald Trump is the one who actually said more Black people should go to jail. That's what he said. So let's not get confused on those dynamics, what's happening here. Why should you vote for Biden? Biden's saying $30 billion at a minimum got to go to community development financial institutions so we get more access to capital, because the big banks didn't help us when anything was going down this year. Biden's the one saying, let's expand the HBCU initiative, which was in existence before Trump. Trump trying to make it seem like he was the one doing these things. And let's have some real talk. For Ice Cube, for 50, for Lil Wayne, anyone that's been out here just saying these things, why don't you come talk to us? As the first Black man elected to the DNC leadership since Ron Brown, I'm amazed when I'm listening to cats that don't want to actually have conversation with us. ICE spoke to our team. And the Platinum Plan, which is absolute garbage in what they're proposing on the Trump side, which is a 2-page document versus the 40 pages we laid out, that's what's at stake for our people. So very clearly, Not Black, to your question, whether it be money for Black businesses, whether it be addressing criminal justice reform, whether it be going from cradle to the career, whether it be what we're doing on healthcare, whether it be just for respect for us as Black people. That's why I'm rocking for Biden. That's why I'm rocking for Harris. And I just think we got to be clear about what's at stake, and that's why I'm doing this. And that's why I'm asking everybody for vote. I'm not asking for you to find perfect, right? You don't have perfect in any relationship. You ain't got perfect in your household with who you love. You ain't got perfect with your employer. You ain't got perfect in anything like that. Do we need to do more? Yes. Can we be doing more? Yes. Should we be having these conversations 2 days before an election? Yes. Am I going to rock with you after the election? Yes. Are we going to build with you? Yes. All those things, yes. But I don't have a chance to do any of these things if we don't win this thing on Tuesday.
Man, say that.
Understood. Understood.
Man, say
No,
that. Go ahead, Not Black.
No, I was going to say you addressed a lot of the points that we were preparing ourselves to ask you, but there, you know, and I'm moving quickly because I know people's time is precious right now. But one of the things that I wanted to give an opportunity to, especially like the what I will call the super influencers on this call, i.e. Jermaine, B. Cox, Jonte Austin, not taking away anything from any of you fine brothers, but there, when you all are out there talking about go vote, you know, I think it's kind of obvious that you're like, get Trump out of office. I get that. But what type of opposition are you running to? What type of things are our brothers saying to you about why they don't want to vote the Democratic way, whether it's issues with Joe Biden or Kamala, or Senator Harris, like, and Jermaine, I don't know if you can come off mute, but I'd like to hear if you've been running it, and if not, we can pass it on to B. Cox. But I want you to hear the type of things that they're running into when they're telling young men, go out and vote.
You said you want me to come in and say what now?
Yeah, just to share the type of things that people are giving you pushback on when you tell them they need to get out here and go vote. Like what type of issues they may be having, whether it's with Senator Harris or Joe Biden. Like,
I mean, just the whole prosecution thing. You know, that's the issue that you know, majority of my friends, you know, ex-drug dealers, you know, whatever it is, just street guys, that's something that they bring up. That's something that they talked about. And that's something that they feel like, you know, without knowing, and like I said, I had an opportunity to ask her this question. Without knowing, they feel like she purposely targeted Black men, right? And that's the story that's running through the streets, is that's what she was after, brown and Black brothers. And her job, she was definitely gonna make sure that she arrested and put these people behind bars. So, you know, when people see me supporting this team, that's one of the things, that's the first thing they throw at me. They don't actually say nothing else. That's what all of the people that have a, you know, that's on the fence, that's the first thing they say. Jermaine, you're gonna support somebody that you know, that openly threw brown and black brothers in jail. So I had, you know, when I got the opportunity to speak to her recently when she came to Atlanta, that's the question that I asked her. What did she tell people that continue to keep saying this? And her answer was, you know, she was doing her job as anybody else that has a job, right? And you got to respect that part, because that's the truth. You got a job, this is your job. But at the same time, she said nobody that went to jail didn't deserve to go to jail. And that's something that I feel like, me personally, I feel like the Black community, we get away with not stepping up and taking responsibility for a lot of stuff that's going on out here. You know, it's a lot of things that's happening that we turn around and say it's racist, or we do whatever, but we also have in the blaming of some of this stuff that happens, right? And I feel like when it comes to this situation, nobody wants to take responsibility. Everybody just want to be able to say, point the finger at her and say, oh, she was arresting people. But, you know, what was these people going to jail for? What was they being arrested for, right? Nobody wants to even talk about that. They want to act like that don't even exist, or it shouldn't happen. So, I mean, like I said, I understand both sides, but I just felt like she needed to know, like, you know, I'm sure more people, my peers, they got friends that's probably saying the exact same thing. That's one of the biggest things that's going in the streets, is that the streets feel like she represents a person that's not going to take care of us and that's going to make sure that we go to jail.
Michael, how do you? I'm sure you've heard the same thing. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry.
Michael Blake, I think that was a question for you, brother.
I think he had to mute. I saw him walking. I think he had to mute for a second.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's probably looking for a pace of quiet.
Yeah, he's in the street. Yeah.
we need the users to know that this brother is actually in the streets and also preparing for something extremely big right now. It's 2 days out. He is the vice chair of the DNC. So please recognize that he's extremely busy and be flexible with him. So Blake, whenever you get a chance, come on back in. But while we're waiting on him, Cox, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to piggyback off what Jermaine said. Like it's you know, and me and Michael spoke about it yesterday on our Zoom conversation. We jumped right in and spoke about the crime bill. We jumped right in and spoke about Senator Harris's track record as a prosecutor. I had the honor of like going back and doing my research and really, people, unfortunately, we have a tendency to just read headlines and run with that. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, our culture, we don't do a lot of digging and research for ourselves. We'll read a headline and read the first, couple, sentences of an article, and it's like, okay, that's it. She did this, that, and the third. And like I asked Michael yesterday, I wonder why we don't hear about the massive reform she did, like keeping schools open and directing kids that would be criminals that would end up going to jail, directing them to school, right? To reform schools and the education program she laid out while she was in power up there. I think that people need to really recognize all sides. You know what I mean? When it comes to politics, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, and nobody's talking about that because nobody's going to go dig and research that. And that's not what the press. That don't get the click. That's not the clickbait. The good shit is never the clickbait. You know what I mean? It's always the bad shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that the way that we do it, and especially when it comes to what we should have been doing, is letting people know all the good shit. You know what I mean? Using the platform to let people know exactly the positive shit that happened. You know what I mean? And let's be clear: the arrest of people who did crimes is not negative. I think that the problem was Black
I think Cox might be having some, I think
I think that was the thing that people were like, why black niggas get it longer? Of course, that's still people just reading headlines. Yeah.
Cox, I think we get some little static from you, brother. If you could just try to move to a location.
I'm sorry,
with
guys.
better
Hold on.
signal. It's all good, brother. Blake, Blake, I see you back on the call, brother. If you can hear us, the question was posed to you about Sister Harris's time as a prosecutor in San Francisco and also her time as AG in California. If you could speak to her record, and I know there's a misnomer, and I call it a misnomer because I'm a data nerd and I like facts about her excessively locking up black men and that being her role. So go ahead and speak to that, and please, once and for all, put that shit to sleep.
Yeah. You're on mute.
Yeah, I had to walk into. I heard everything of JD's question, and I heard everything from Black. It's just my battery died. So if it's a little loud, I'm just gonna talk loud. I had to run inside. So look, let's talk real quick to JD in respect to you, King, on all that you've done over the years. And now, the only people that have been pushing this criminal justice nonsense about Kamala is Trump and the Republicans, because they have nothing else to push about her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's literally been them elevating this argument. And the thing that's been fascinating for me is when I listen to them talk about her being a prosecutor, so we're just going to ignore her being attorney general. We're going to ignore her being United States Senator. We're going to ignore that Trump wants to take credit for the First Step Act, where that came from Congress. So if you want credit on that, then you need to give credit to Kamala for people being a part of the committee that actually moved that bill. They only want to play us. They only want to be the oppressor to try to confuse us. And I have very short tolerance listening to a white supremacist trying to tell us about how black people are bad for black people when he was calling for the death penalty on black people. Like, I don't understand this nonsense that we have allowed people to say about Biden and Kamala. Black folk had the highest support rate for the crime bill. But now we've allowed months to go by of people saying the crime bill is so bad and Joe Biden is so bad. And I was like, so we're just gonna ignore all that. We're gonna ignore that Trump's daddy was at a KKK rally and arrested. We're gonna ignore that his family was sued because they wouldn't let black people get affordable housing. We're gonna ignore all that shit. But she did her job of prosecuting people that committed crimes. So we're gonna ignore the part before that where she went to Howard and her success in going to law school. We're gonna ignore all those things. So I wanna make this real practical to everybody. As you can tell, I get hyped on this. If you had a kid who went to school and graduated from law school and became an attorney and said, you know what I wanna do? I wanna be a prosecutor or a DA, where, let's talk about where she spent her time. The majority of her time was criminal justice reforms to help our people not to get locked up, to focus on alternatives incarceration, to focus on school efforts. So if you had a daughter and your daughter said, I want to serve my community by being a prosecutor and actually do the right things, because so many times these prosecutors are not doing the right things, would you tell your daughter, no, don't do that because there are other bad prosecutors? Or would you say to her, go rock and go do something?
Go rock and go do something.
So for me, the element here is not rooted in facts. Notice the Republican argument is never rooted in data to say, man, this is why Kamala and Biden were so bad. It's just well, they were this. Oh shit.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. You know, I said that, you know, basically it's a informed, you know, the information is not right. People don't have the right information. That's just wanted her to, you know, I wanted to see if she knew that that was being thrown around in the streets, because that is, you know, like I said, that's what I hear more than anything.
Of course, and Jay, like, here's, and I said this to Mondale and Nye Black and everybody yesterday as well. In these next 48 hours, you all have networks that we don't have. Like people see us and they're like, yo, you're the DNC, you're the party. And I would say this, here's the best way I would explain this. Nine Black, JD, everybody, y'all have connects to artists and success in that manner that people may not see who you're talking to, but you put the structure in place. That's my job at the DNC as a vice chair. Mm-hmm. People may not see the pieces we putting in place. But let's be clear. You think these assholes will be trying to invalidate ballots in Texas if they thought they were winning over there? Right? Like you think
126,000 black ballots.
Like you really think if they felt real confident right now, they'd be doing this, that they would be trying to confuse people in Georgia, that they'd be trying to confuse people in Florida. And so what I'm asking to the kings on the line, these young brothers are not voting at the numbers we need them to. And it's because a message has been driven home to them of they don't care for you. These Democrats ain't doing nothing for you. Even though you did, Affordable Care Act, criminal justice reforms, housing, et cetera, et cetera. Can more be done? Absolutely. But I can't do that if I don't get elected, right? I can't govern if we don't win. Like, it's real nice. It's real nice to shoot in the gym and practice. That don't mean shit unless you can get in the game and do something, right? And so what we need is, who's going to help us with IG Lives in the next 48 hours? Who's going to help us mobilize artists to call into radio stations in the next 48 hours?
Right.
Who's going to help us say, I'm going to identify donors who will make phone calls because people are trying to have food and buses and transportation in these battleground states for the next 48 hours? Who's going to help us find lawyers that you already work with so that these lawyers can be prepared and ready when they wild out in these next 48 hours? Because here's what's coming on the other side. They have their legal protection for cats that are going to be able to stand outside with guns with the militia because they feel like it's protection, right? And that confusion. Now, we understand if brothers just started rolling up with guns on their side, all of a sudden these cops would be wilding out. They would not even allow that to happen, right? So very direct, very concrete. I need folks that are willing to say, I'm calling every artist on my label. I'm calling every artist on my squad. And I'm saying to them, I need them to call into every black and brown radio station for the next 48 hours, even for 5 minutes. I need every single person on my roster to do an IG Live, to do a tweet, to do a quick video. I need every single person to say, you know what? I may not understand where this money is going to, but if they say they need money for the voter protection project or black male voter project, like, I need you to write this check so you can make this project happen, right? And in that vein, this thing is going to come down to about 6 or 7 states. And how much do we want this to bring this home is going to be contingent on us putting the organization together.
Blake, I appreciate that fire, brother. Not Black. Let me jump in real quick because I want to bring in the voice, an important voice of a strategic brother who plays the background so much, but he brings so much fire to this collective that we call Black men who care about Black men, and that's the brother A. London Arrington. So, brother, I know you had some words and questions for this brother Blake, and Blake is definitely prepared to answer this question. So, give it to him.
Hey, Brother Blake, thank you again for the conversation. I'll get straight to it. As a collective of Black men, we're looking at an agenda where we're starting to understand and utilize the economics of politics and the economics of Black excellence in the fields of edutainment, entrepreneurship, and economics to protect and provide for our women and children. We understand that we haven't really understood the arena of politics and the economics of it. But now that we're collected together and having this conversation with you, what are some things that you feel like we could maximize now that we understand the economics of politics and our own economics of Black excellence that people have been using much better than we have for generations? How can we bring that to the table and continue to converse with you post-election for the next 100 days so that we can be a power and a pack to lobby and use that economic power that we have in every arena to be more effective to get policies changed in the future? That's my question.
Appreciate you, Lon. Much love and good to see you again, King.
Yes, sir.
So,
You too.
So I'll break that down into different phases, right? There's a 48-hour window. There's a window of now through when we evict individual one from the White House. And then there's that window of what happens when we have the administration back, right? So,
Yep.
you know, there's the education and awareness to everybody of, you know, here are the very specific things that Biden is saying that if elected, we pass these things, we implement these things, would lead to billions and trillions of dollars to our people. An infrastructure bill. That's highways, that's bridges. Like that's billions and trillions. Minority Business Development Agency, going from national director to assistant secretary, and then put in $5 billion in lending. Small Business Administration. Biden has said that for the next COVID bill, 50% of funding should go to small businesses, 50 employees and below. That's a game changer. It's a game changer, right? I worked for Barack Obama and Biden. I've been around a lot. This is my 4th presidential election. I've been around a lot of these campaigns. This is the most substantive Black agenda any candidate has put forward, and specifically on the economics, right? And we can't separate the economic place from COVID, because if we don't address what's happening with COVID, we can't open these businesses back.
Absolutely.
Like we can't do these. So all this is intertwined here. Now, that's next 48 hours, right? Like that education awareness. Now, beyond that, do they do another COVID relief bill? I don't know. But it is our effort around connecting with y'all around transition conversations to say, here are the things that we feel are substantively impactful and relevant that we got to get focused on within the administration to start those dialogues that are not happening. So that when Biden and Harris are walking in, when the right people are going into the administration, when the people are in the right spots of the DNC, we are all in alignment of here are the things that will have real impact. Case in point, if we're going to focus on CDFIs, which we need to, then we simultaneously community development financial institutions, for those who are not aware, right? Then we need to simultaneously focus on fintech, the financial technology, because a lot of these CDFIs don't have the back end technology to handle the amount of applications coming in, right? So it's a both and, because if I give you $100 million, but your systems can only handle 1 million, none of us win it.
Absolutely.
So we got to make that direct connection. We got to focus on how do we change the game around underwriting and algorithm discrimination so that the language that's in place is not always leading to our folks not getting in the game because they presume you're a credit risk, because they presume you shouldn't get credit, because they presume you shouldn't get that loan, because of how they wrote up their language and their deals, right? And having the right people appointed and having the right people in these positions, right, are all intertwined. And again, I go back to that. Y'all CEOs, y'all run businesses. Your vision don't mean shit if you don't have the right people in place.
Yes, sir.
Right? So it's just like these pieces are intertwined. And for me, again, I said, I'm a Bronx kid, right? Like I've seen when folks are struggling, when they didn't have money, right? And I've seen how Trump and Pence made a decision while folks were dying to do nothing to help Black people. So that's the economic agenda. I would say again to everyone who hasn't seen it, Joe Biden, racial equity, that is the plan. Joe Biden, lift every voice. Those are the two I would encourage everyone to check out, because you can see it. It's not just me saying it. It's the reality in the nuance and the details.
I appreciate
Thank you so
much. I hear you, brother. Arrington, and I definitely want to get back to you. I just want to give Junte time to like pose a question to the brother before we run out of time. So Mr. Alston, go ahead, brother. Bring your heat.
Good to see you again, Michael, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow as well. And I'm sure we'll get into some of this, but what can we say to brothers in the next 48 hours who are, I think we do have to acknowledge that a lot of people are just legitimately disillusioned with both parties, right? So they know that Trump is not the answer, but, you know, they're coming from a position of, you know, the other side, I haven't really felt any help or engagement or, you know, just concern or even or felt valued by the DNC. What can we say to them as far as like in the first 100 days, the things that we can look for? So like, you know, when we talk about, can we get an immediate end to cash bail? Can we get, you know, some immediate attention to look at ending qualified immunity, you know, for across the board for police officers? And when we talk about, you know, bringing trades back to schools, all the things that we've been talking about, but the immediacy, you know, what can we give them as far as our word that, you know, listen, if you come and rock with Biden and we get him over the hill, I can promise you that, you know, immediately you will see this, and this will immediately affect us as Black men, Black women, Black folk.
I will never tell someone immediately in the same way I would never tell someone immediately in your own household, right? Like that would be like me telling a child or a loved one, you do this and immediately this will happen. What I will say is it is a substantially higher likelihood of focusing on criminal justice and changing it, and focusing on access to capital and changing it, and focusing on graduating from school without being saddled with debt and changing it. If you not only have a Biden-Harris administration, but if we really do our thing in the next 48 hours and have a Democratic majority in the Senate, because then we can really rock. Because I would say this to people, remember, how did we get the Affordable Care Act done? Because we had a Democratic White House, a Democratic Senate, and Democratic House, right? And when we lost that, they went ham in trying to block everything, right? And so we talk about criminal justice, you know, let's talk about chokehold bans. Let's talk about no-knock warrants. Let's talk about qualified immunity. Let's talk about a police registry on misconduct. Let's talk about all these things. Absolutely. And so when you ask, okay, why should I trust you, DNC, leadership, et cetera? Biden was a part of a 21st century policing plan, while Donald Trump was quiet as his senior advisor and son-in-law told Black people you should work harder, right? And so this is a trust exercise. And again, I come on that. I recognize that. I come full on the strength of that, right? Like this is a pure trust exercise of, should I believe in an institution that people may not be aware of? And I'm saying to y'all, everybody watching in your networks as well, rock with me and rock with us so we can bring you into the institution so you can figure out how you want to get involved with the party. Right? Like Bulls, Warriors, Pistons, Celtics, Lakers now, right? It didn't change overnight, but it changed when people made a decision that they wanted to build on the inside. You can't win a championship from the sidelines. And so like, I'm saying to all the Kings, you want to help me change this thing? Rock with me. Hold me accountable, and I'm going to hold you accountable. And I'm going to be real clear. You talk shit about us and you know what you're talking about, I'm going to call you out. Because one thing I am tired of is for those of us who have made a lifetime of service, where all we want to do is help people, is to have to listen to entertainers and business folk who have spent no time trying to interact with us, who then will align with a white supremacist and then try to tell me they know what's best for Black people. So yes, that's the Lil Wayne, that's the Ice Cube, that's the 50 Cent, that's the everybody that's aligned with them.
Shoot your shot.
For every single one of y'all who are watching Black people die, and you have the audacity to go stand with this man, and then you're gonna talk to me about Black people? Fall back.
Yo,
I think Michael been hanging with us a little bit too much on these calls. You know,
I'm telling you, Michael ready, bro. He in
this
his
truth that he's putting out here. Okay,
That
Listen.
Little Wayne one was the final one.
you know.
I mean,
but hey, but
Ice
Michael,
Cube,
let's be honest though, Michael, let's be honest.
But like that was the last one because like Ice, like I already knew. Okay, you playing games. You've been rocking with Steve Bannon, 50 Cent. You don't know the fuck you talking about on this conversation right now because the taxes are for people over $400,000, not for everybody. But Little Wayne.
But Lil Wayne is. But hold on. We love Lil Wayne music. Lil Wayne is the same brother that told us in 2015 that he didn't know what Black Lives Matter was, and it didn't matter to him because he was rich.
But here's the problem, right? Like we now got to spend time talking to brothers on the block who were like, well, Wayne and 50 and Ice said this. They're not taking the time to actually figure out what's really going on. So what needs to now happen? I need y'all on the line. I need for your networks to say, you know what? This brother, I just met
I'm sorry,
him.
is anybody else hearing tweet in the feed?
I'm looking at the comments right now, and all the 100s that are rolling across the comments in on Facebook. People are excited about this conversation, and
Yeah, but it's somebody's playing tweet in the background. Do y'all hear that? Or is that just me?
But Brother Blake, can we get back?
It's probably because I'm here because I gotta. There's like an event happening, and I gotta go back to work. So you hear that reggae in the background, but yeah, that shots fired. Shots fired.
I think was a good way to go. That's a good segue for John Tate to ask his question. Tate.
Oh,
That's the question.
Yeah, but I think that was the question. I was able to answer that one there.
Oh, that was the only one you had, Tate?
Yeah. I mean, I know we're gonna talk about some more things tomorrow, but
tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Bet. So Slater, let's move over to Slater. Let's bring Slater into this conversation. Slater's quiet, but his brain is amazing and important.
And I got to probably slide out after this one to gear up for tomorrow.
And just so that everybody know, JD text, he had another appointment, so he thanked everybody, but wanted to apologize that he had to drop because he had another appointment that he had to be at. But yeah, go ahead, Slater, take it over, and then that way we can wrap up with Mike.
Brother Michael, appreciate you being here, man. Mine is not really a question, but I think somebody else hinted to it last night about how insightful the conversation was. I think for me and for everybody else listening in, if you could just like tell us again or reiterate what kinds of fires you are putting out around the nation as it has to do with election fraud and the things that are happening. I personally feel like Trump is staging a coup, and I think people don't really understand the severity of it. So to hear it directly from you, being the chairperson, please share with us again about all of the incidents of fraud around the country and the suppression of the vote. Because it's one thing for us to see it in different news outlets, but it's another thing for us to hear it directly from you. So can you expound on that like you were doing last night?
Absolutely. Look, everybody, I want you to think about this. Do you really think that Donald Trump, who knows he's losing, who's reading and seeing polls showing him down anywhere between 4 to double digits across the country, you really think he just gonna give this to us? Right. So when we are battling with militias being able to stand outside in states with their guns on their hip because they want to provide protection, clearly intimidation.
Right.
When you get the fake robocalls directing you to the wrong polling places, suppression. When you have boxes being created in California so you drop off your ballot in the wrong place, suppression. When you're being told the hours are different than they are, suppression. And so when you're figuring out that you didn't fill out your absentee ballot or provisional ballot the correct way, but you're not being helped on that guidance suppression. So here's what I need. I need y'all to rock with me at iwillvote.com. I need you to go to iwillvote.com and figure out how you can do voter protection for us around the country. I need you to help us in curing the ballots so that you can make phone calls in Georgia and North Carolina and Pennsylvania and Florida to figure out how you can help people respond to what's going on with these ballots. If you're a lawyer or not a lawyer, you can help us with our voter hotline. I need you to get in the game and save your country, y'all. I need you to get in the game and save democracy. And I need you to have a warrior-like mindset right now that you all in on this. And so that's what we're seeing. we seeing the games in a very direct way. And when they tell the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by, what I need for y'all is to stand up and stand out.
That's real, bro.
That's real.
Right, that's real. And Mike, this is my last point. Because when you said warrior instinct, that kind of touched on something we've been talking about throughout the calls and the conversations we've been having. You know, I've dedicated myself to voting for Joe Biden, but I'm not voting for the Joe Biden that's the reach across the aisle guy. I'm voting for the middle class Joe. I'm voting for Scranton, PA Joe that's got a big ass backbone. And I'm voting for a Joe that will take off his jacket and be like, bro, after you say certain things, we might have to get in the ring and box this out. Like, that's the guy that I would like to see more often in the campaign. So if you could, you know, assure us that, like, if you get a chance, just spike his drink with some Red Bull or something, like whatever it takes to get him like on the up and up. Like, we want to see more middle class Joe, because I feel like a lot of brothers would really get behind that middle class dude.
Can you see my t-shirt?
Hold on, let me flip the screen.
Can you see my t-shirt?
He said, "Will you shut up? Will you shut up, man?"
Right, right.
That's the Joe
That's
Biden we
the Joe that we
bro.
want to see more often. And if I think that Joe showed up more often, you probably would get some strong non-voting brothers who might just be able to say, hey, I'm gonna give this dude a chance at the last minute.
So I was tonight, I had truly one of the honors of my life, in which I was able to be on stage as one of the two speakers that spoke before the next president. And he came on with some real talk about what's at stake. And he talked especially very directly to cats in Philly, and while it may be Philly specific, it's across the country. And he just kept saying, he's like, your lives are on the line. And I'm gonna fight for you. And he got to a space where, you know, when someone gets in their zone, when they have the prepared remarks, but like he grabbed the mic and started walking around like he was at the concert. Like he was like, yo, this is my time right now. And he got real direct on some, I'm not gonna allow this bully to try to throw people off, because that's not who we are.
So he went B-Rabbit is what you're saying, basically.
This was on some, like, I won't call it ether status, but it was almost there, right? It was almost there, right? This was like, yo, let me remind you, you know, you talk about my family one more time, we're gonna turn the lights.
Right. Right. I think that's what strong-minded brothers want to see.
I mean, because what it tells the brothers is, it simply tells brothers that, hey, I have a backbone and I'm willing to fight for what we're talking about and what we agree on in our conversation. So I think this is not no macho for no unnecessary reason. We're talking about willing to stand up to bullies about what's important, which means to us, which translates to black men is, okay, we agree on this, and it may not be the popular decision, or it may not be what the world is talking about, but we know it's important to black men, a population that lives with their backs against the wall constantly. So it matters to us that we see someone with a backbone that's willing to stand up, and I think that's the space Slater's coming from. And brother, we represent, and we also recognize your time. I want to turn it over to Not Black so we could do this co-closing and move from there.
Yeah, I mean, this has been wonderful. I just want to thank each and every one of you all who have showed up, and now it's time for us to show out. You know, I thank you, Michael, for taking this time to speak with us. And I'm gonna keep it real quick. If there are any quick words you want to say closing out, we know you got to go work. Please do so, and we're gonna let you have your night. And we know you got other interviews to do tomorrow and so forth, and a lot coming up until Tuesday. So we thank you for this time.
Not Black, Mondale, fellow Kings, I appreciate y'all. I'm tired of having to say I can't breathe, either because of COVID-19 or because of police brutality.
Good.
To my brothers, I'm not saying to you that we are perfect. I'm not saying to you we're gonna get everything right. I'm not saying that everything's gonna be changing overnight. But I'm saying trust our heart. And I'm asking that you give us a chance. We have 48 hours to save our country. That's all I got.
That's all we need, brother. London, I'm gonna turn it
Yeah.
over to you to have the last word. And also, man, when you and I did our live, brother, you had these lyrics. I don't know if you're in a place where you want to share those lyrics with these folk, but the way you closed us out on that live, I'm still hearing it in my head, brother, and my heart. So go ahead.
I appreciate it. I'm not sure if I want to say this though to Brother Blake. Brother Blake, we keep talking to you about what the DNC can do for us, but I hear you clearly when you say that we can do this for you. We can be about the agenda of really understanding the economics of politics and the economics of our own Black excellence to protect and provide for our own people. We keep missing that because you've said it 3 times. But I want to close this out with saying that you are holding us accountable to understand and utilize the economics of Black excellence and understanding the economics of the excellence of the economics of politics. I understand you and I hear you clearly when I say that. Thank you so much, brother, for your time, and God bless.
Al, I appreciate you, King. And
Perfect.
we're going to do this together and we'll build this together, everybody.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Hey, thank you for staying in space, brother. We appreciate it.
Always. Salute, Kings.
Salute.